Hello, Wolfpack. Theta token. One of my members in our discussion group on Telegram recommended this coin. I haven't looked at it for a while, and so I thought I'd take a peek into it. Last time I did this coin, we didn't get much attention on it, which is interesting considering this is a top 30 coin. But I guess a lot of people aren't really interested in Theta, which is very interesting to me because the use case is seemingly it keeps up with the trends at the moment, and obviously gaming is a massive thing, and decentralizing the platforms of which streaming services for gaming are running is naturally the next step, right? As we move towards a decentralized society, which I think a lot of people in cryptocurrency would agree with to a certain extent. Would agree that decentralizing literally every aspect of that society, including gaming, right, would be the next logical step to take. And that's what Theta token is all about. That's what Theta network is all about. It's about, and the essential use case of it, according to this introduction video and according to the white paper as well, in a very simple form. Essentially, Theta token is a service you can use. Theta network is a service you can use to lend your computer bandwidth, whether it be overnight when you're sleeping, whether it be actively during the day, to assist in the streaming of a certain influencer while they're streaming them playing video games, whatever they're doing, talking to an audience. And essentially, streaming quality tends to be very low. If you've watched Twitch in the past, you realize that streaming quality is very low. It takes a lot of, megabytes, gigabytes of internet to watch a live stream in itself, much more than it would be in a YouTube video. And Theta token essentially aims to improve the streaming experience by increasing the quality. In return for you lending your bandwidth to these streamers, you get Theta token as a reward, right? And obviously, if you're a streamer, that would be that in reverse, right? So you'd borrow that Theta token off of certain users of the network, and they would be compensated by receiving Theta tokens. So I think it's obvious that it's, even though the use case may be very specific, it's pretty obvious that this network has a use case that is notable at the very least, right? Because gaming obviously is not going anywhere, right? Esports are becoming even bigger than sports in some countries, especially in some Asian countries like Korea and even Japan and some parts of China, right? Gaming is absolutely massive, and these are the same countries that are heavily invested in cryptocurrency, right? So it would make sense for this, and that's the reason why it's at 34th on the market cap ranking. You don't really think about, or at least a lot of people don't really think about Theta token too often, and that's because it actually has a strong use case, but not too much hype around it regarding the TA. Obviously disregarding the massive pump up we had from around December into March, and since then it's been very silent, and there's a reason for that. And that's because it pumped up very fast at the start of the year, and people saw other coins that were on the ground and kind of neglected Theta token, where most coins would have had steady growth during this time, and so they would be in the spotlight. But since Theta token has kind of fallen out of favor, it hasn't really had much bullish price action at all for about 7 months now. You start to see less and less Twitter posts, less and less social activity about Theta, and typically if the fundamentals are sound, which Theta token fundamentals are very sound, that is the best time to pick it up. So in terms of a fundamental standpoint, it looks good, and we can see in the tokenomics, all of the coins are in circulation that will ever exist. Every single Theta token that will ever exist is in circulation according to CoinMarketCap, and so you don't have to worry about any of the inflation, any of the new coins coming into the market devaluing the price of your old coins. That's not going to happen with Theta token, so it's one less little concern to tick off your list, right? Which is great to see. Theta token offers pretty decent, I guess you could say mid to large cap exposure. Top 34 is pretty large cap, right? Market cap of around 5.7 billion currently. So relatively large cap. I guess you could say it's a mid cap if you were pushing it. So if you need a large cap token, if you've seen all of these coins, such as Terra, such as Solana, such as Avalanche, all of these newer coins, right, that haven't seen a bull market before take off, Theta, hasn't really had that second leg up that all of those coins I just listed has had, and it's relatively new, just like those coins, and it has a strong use case, just like those coins. So, it seems like the next logical step is for Theta to make that move up. And if we look into the charts, we can see it's a very strong possibility, right? It's a possibility. It's not certain. It is a possibility, though. And what we can see on Theta is, as I said, a long-term since May, right? So sorry, since March, 7 months of downwards trending, right? So very bearish price action, 7 months. But if you zoom out and you look at it at a larger scale, what we can actually see is a longer term triangle formation, right? Triangle formation on Theta. And we've been bouncing within this triangle for, as I said, 7 months. We recently saw a fake out to the upside, drop back down from our rejection zone here, this red box. And now we're kind of lurking just above the triangle, and we're actually on a very critical point on Theta, and that's the reason why I'm making this entire video. The next few daily candles would be, deciding for the next few months on Theta, right? The next few days, I'll say it again, the next few daily candles we have on Theta, the next few days on Theta token will be the deciding factor as to whether we see a bullish or bearish Q4 and early Q1 for Theta, right? Do I think it's going to go up regardless if the market goes up? Yes. Do I think it will go up significantly less if we keep dropping below into this triangular formation? Yes, I do think it will be significantly less bullish, right? Especially since this coin really needs to have a break, right? There comes a point in the market where coins like Theta, they need to have a break. People, investors in Theta, people who are loyal to the Theta token and the Theta network, they need to essentially have a break from the bearish price action, or they'll essentially just get sick of it, right? And this is the perfect opportunity for that bounce. We can see that we're coming in and we're retesting currently this triangular formation. If we close this daily candle above, I'd say around 6 USD, possibly you can even say $5.80, we'll be looking pretty good for Theta. Actually, you could even say, because you have to remember that this daily candle is going to move to the side, the next one, you could even say as low as maybe $5.75 on Theta. If you close above $5.75, that will be our third or fourth close in that region. The more likely we'll be seeing a bounce if that happens. So it's very critical for Theta to close above that price point, right? I've got $5.77 listed, that blue line that you can't actually see because the red line is right on top of it, which indicates current prices. And we can see that we have some support over that, right? So I'm talking about this line here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see it here. I'll make it into a 4 sized line. There we go. So we have price action off of this line in the past. We have it one little bounce off of it over here. We have a large sector of volume in that region here. We have it holding a support over here, holding a support over here. We came back down, held it as support, dropped below it. It acted as resistance, and we're holding it for support right now, right? So this area, $5.77, not only is the top of a significant long-term triangular formation, but it also is a major support line for Theta to hold. If we drop below that, who knows what will happen, right? We've seen 3 dips into this major support area. Yes, it still is a major support, but we really don't want to be seeing any more dips in there. We can pretty confidently say it is tested. At this point, we need to be making higher lows. And I will say that if we do bottom out on Theta token here, that will be a higher low to start with, right? From this higher low made in late September, right? If we top out here at $5.77, bottom out here at $5.77, that will be a higher low, and then we can start making a higher high over the top at around $7.50 and above into this potential rejection area we have here. So that's, certainly something to watch on Theta for the next few days. Very, I'd actually argue it's the most important thing to watch on Theta in the next few days for sure. Yeah, right. 100% for sure. Because if we keep dropping below that, there's no guarantee we're going to break to the upside. That's just the fact. What we have as well is, we'll look at the VPR in a second. We have the Gaussian channel in that region right above us acting as resistance. We want to be jumping above that in order to see a bullish continuation as well. We have a few of the SMAs that we've just flipped under, and you'll notice that a few of these SMAs, right, they're ranging from around $6.30 to around $5.80, right? Specifically the pink one here, which is the 26 SMA. Usually the 26 SMA acts as a bit of a bouncing zone. We can see only just to the side here, we had a bounce for 26, bounce for 26 here, and we're only slightly below the 26 SMA right now. If we can close above the 26 SMA, and as I said, that's right next to our support zone, just literally 2 cents above it, which is absolutely nothing, right? There's a strong likelihood that we're going to be seeing a bounce, and we really need to be seeing that bounce to have a bullish continuation on Theta. So it is a very critical spot on the VVPR, which is the volume profile, which essentially is an indicator of how much volume historically has taken place in certain regions of the chart here. We can see that the current zone we are in between, as I said, $5.77 and all the way up here to around $6.92 is a pretty major block on the VVPR, which means there's a lot of trading happening in this region historically, right? A lot of buying, a lot of selling. So once we break free of this region and once we conquer a price point of around, as I said, $6.92 or somewhere in that region, we will start moving significantly faster up on Theta, right? We had, once we broke this $6.92 region, we moved up very quickly here. Once we broke that region, we moved down very quickly here. Once we broke that region, we moved up quite quickly here. So it's clearly a zone in which we want to be conquering if we are going to be seeing some bullish price action on Theta in the coming months. So that would be my kind of short-term view on Theta. And I say short-term, I think the daily chart is relatively short-term view of the market. We can say medium-term if you wanted to, but essentially, and you can see now as I've zoomed up a little bit, that $6.94 region that I've kind of labeled out here, just below it, this red line here is actually the point of control on the VVPR. So that is the area in which we are seeing the most historical volume on the chart that I'm currently showing you. And we can see that we've actually rejected off of that point just recently on this last move up. We rejected off of that VVPR. So definitely forming a higher high above that VVPR and flipping it for support and then moving upwards into our rejection zone will be the next logical step for Theta. I'm not too worried about actually conquering the rejection zone. As I said, if we do conquer, and that's $6.92 resistance, and we do hold this $5.77 support for support, then I don't see us having a problem in flipping this rejection zone at all. I think that would be a decent buying signal at that point. We can look at the weekly chart for Theta, and we can see that we do have a bullish MACD cross that could potentially be playing out on the weekly chart, which supports our theory that if we do hold this area for support, we will be pumping quite significantly in the coming months. So it's something to look on as well on the weekly chart. We want to be seeing a strong bounce right now. And as for long-term price predictions of Theta for the end of a cycle, and this is, keep in mind, as I've said probably 1,000 times in the last 10 minutes, right? This price prediction is if we hold the $5.77 support on Theta, right? If we do hold that, what we can do is we can extrapolate from Bitcoin. At around the same time, Bitcoin reached its all-time high of 64K. Theta reached $16.50. What we can do is we can extrapolate that to our price prediction of 113K on Bitcoin, add 50% gains for Theta because altcoins typically outperform Bitcoin by a metric of around 50%, and we can bring Theta, this is a rough estimate, all the way to a price prediction for the end of a cycle of around 38 USD, right? 38 USD in Theta, which is currently, and we'll measure this out right now, is around a 5 to 6x from current prices, right? A 5 to 6x from current prices, 38 USD. That is if we hold this area for support in the coming days, right? If not, then we might have to make some readjustments. As for fractals, and as for why this price prediction is pretty rough, is because we don't actually have any fractals because, as I've said before, this coin has not seen a full bull market yet. We don't have any historical price performance to work off of. We've just had a long-term flat line and then a spike up, and now some corrections downwards, right? But what we can say on Theta, and one of the things that is at least relatively bullish in the short term, right, or in the medium term or long term, is the fact that we do have a higher low from this construction made in July, and we had a higher low here in September. So at least we are seeing higher lows, and what we actually are seeing are higher lows and lower highs. So compression of price, which is another thing that's suggesting that we're going to be seeing a spike very soon, potentially to the upside. Very unlikely, but still a possibility to the downside. So, it's just that kind of what you can compare it to is the longer, for example, an inflatable ball is held under the water, and the deeper it's held under the water, and the deeper the correction is in the market, which you can compare that to, the higher it's going to bounce out of the water that when you let it go, right? So it's going to come up and bounce out of the water, just like Theta might be doing in the coming weeks if it holds this area for support. On the Bitcoin pair, we can see on the weekly chart, not really much data on the Bitcoin pair. As I said, it's a very new coin. But what I'm expecting on the Bitcoin pairs as a general kind of consensus here is, as I've said multiple times in my videos, expecting Bitcoin to lead the market in the coming months until it tops out in late December, which is my prediction. And then at that point, and only at that point, will altcoins start to perform very bullishly. So I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if Theta keeps depreciating on the Bitcoin pair until that December timeframe, from which it will probably be scalping off of this SAT support area of around 650 to around 700 or 800 sats. and then make its second leg up and pass new all-time highs. Definitely not into June 2020. If we read you all that, it will probably be way more sharp than that into late January or February, right? Very sharp move up as all altcoins basically go parabolic, right? I would expect that to be the case, but firstly, we need to correct further downwards, in my opinion. As to where we correct, that green support box is my most logical prediction for that on the Bitcoin pair. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this analysis on Theta. We're currently in a very interesting spot, as I've said multiple times. And just because we're below that support area right now, just minorly, right, we're currently trading at $5.75. The support is at $5.77. We have seen multiple wicks below this support region in the past. It's definitely not set in stone that we're going to be dropping below it right now just because we're seeing some bearish price action. In fact, this might be a great opportunity to see a strong bounce. So let's keep an eye on it. I'll keep you guys updated on Twitter and in my Telegram discussion group, and we'll see what happens with Theta. All right, guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something about Theta token and the current state of the Theta markets, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you later.